Well, it happened. Game Freak just announced a brand new Pokemon game, and after everyone's hopes that the game would be released later than 2022, thank goodness Game Freak listened. And then ignored us, and announced it's coming out this year! It's fine though, Sword and Shield had 0 issues, so I doubt that having extra time to work on the game would be super important. I just really hope this game will feel finished because gosh dang it Bobby, I want to play this one. Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet Generation 9. I can't even count that high, but there you go. Before I even get into the meat, potatoes, and kitchen sinks, is anyone else surprised by the titles? Not the words, but the fonts, I mean. I can't recall a time when both games had such a different looking logo. The colors are different, sure, but the font type and textures too? Scarlet has sort of a scale look on it with a traditional looking font, and Violet looks thinner and a bit techy. I'm guessing it has something to do with the legendaries, but I just thought I'd point that out since I've yet to see a single person bring it up. That's no surprise though. Everyone else is more concerned with other things. Let's start with what first greeted us within the trailer. After the short film about the frightened flashlight man, that is. Pack your bags, baby, we're going to Spain! I'll admit it, I wasn't sure what the influence was at first glance. My mind got stuck on Greece, but I knew that was wrong from the get-go. From Park Güell to the Sagrada Familia, Spain is home to some bonkers destinations. Such striking imagery down to the unique architecture of a simple home, it makes total sense that they'd take inspiration from Spain and run with it. I do wonder though, if Pokemon keeps going for 1 billion years, are they gonna pick locations at random? Like, what's the strategy? How long until an Australian-inspired gen, for instance? I'm not sure why I'm asking you these questions, I'm just making conversation, man. The sites look beautiful, both IRL and in our funny Pokemon world. I can't wait to see more when the game releases, especially since I'm apparently the only person on Earth who said I wasn't gonna buy Sword and Shield, and then actually refrained from buying Sword and Shield, so I've yet to experience a mainline game on Switch. The starters. May I say that after waking up and seeing these goofy little guys appear before my eyes first thing in the morning, I'm pleased. I needed a second to absorb what I was looking at, and while I understand the whole Fakemon comparison, I think these are some legit looking starters. This is the first time in a while where I was actually conflicted between which one I wanted out of all 3. That didn't last too long, however, because the best choice became obvious to me upon further introspection. And lo and behold, he's coming up next. The Weed Cat. I love him. Whenever it comes up in conversation, if we're not discussing the ever-growing number it has on websites, everyone is praying to Arceus that those front 2 little bean-toed feetsies stay grounded, lest we be graced by another cursed bipedal feline. But you know what? I'm gonna go against the grain. Bring on your bipedal cat. Come on, do it. You think I'm scared? You don't think I can handle another furry bait starter? In fact, why stop there? Don't even make him look like a cat. I hope it evolves and it looks like this. Yeah, that's right. Sorry for spoiling it, but this is Spring-a-Ling-a-Ding-Dong's final form. This is what peak performance looks like, whether you like it or not. But in all seriousness, because this is dead serious, I do hope it stays a quadruped. While it's obviously not going to be cute by its final form, I do hope it doesn't become some ugly freak show or stray too far from being a cat creature. I heard something about a lynx being indigenous to the area or being close to endangered, and there's apparently some theme with grass types being tied to extinct or endangered species, but I've never heard of or thought of it. But whatever, let's go with that. You know what? It's gonna evolve into a big ol' lynx, and its feet are gonna stay on the fucking ground. I also predict it's going to break new ground for starter typings and evolve into a grass fire type, because it looks like weed! Get it? 420, blaze it! This joke will not get old. Okay, moving on to the Amongusaurus. This guy is the absolute wild card of the group, as far as I can tell. His design is the most wacky and detached from reality compared to the other 2 starters. He's got a weird look in his eyes, like he's not from this world. I don't know if he can be trusted. When I first saw him, I immediately thought, hey, that's a fucking apple. And I thought I was an absolute genius for cracking the code. I opened my third eye and unlocked forbidden knowledge and concluded, yes, that dino is a fucking apple. Before the world could bestow me with its praise, some joker on the internet has to butt in and go, nuh-uh, it's a chili pepper, not an apple. I was crushed. Had I truly been led so astray? If I was wrong about this, what other truths could be false? My worst nightmares could become cruel realities. Before I could even shit my pants, another fighter joined the battle and exclaimed, "You fools! It is neither apple nor chili pepper. It is actually a cocoa plant." What blasphemy. You're telling me that gator is made of chocolate? Absurd. But then it occurred to me. Fue coco. Coco? It's right there in the name. But wait. Why make it the fire type and not the grass type starter? What else is plant-like but also hot? A pepper. But what about the white interior of its face and the peculiar shape of its eyes that look like certain seeds? Paired with the red color surrounding it, that sure looks like, you guessed it, an apple. I can make an argument for any one of these vegetative creations, but what if I told you we've all been led astray from the very beginning? That hair. Damn hair, leading us to believe it was some kind of stem, making us think it was an apple or a pepper. No, that's a red herring, because I know what this lizard truly is. The truth lies in the yellow squares on its chest and tail. Why such geometric squares? Such an odd design choice, right? There must surely be some reason. Indeed, and I have the answer. As it evolves, it will increasingly resemble a gouty lizard from Park Güell. Here's a pic of what I'm talking about. Notice the geometric ceramic tiles. Notice how it's a reptile covered in square tiles. Some of them even being yellow? Coincidence? I don't know, but I can certainly see this guy becoming covered in colorful armored plates and resembling this goofy lizard. Maybe he could be a fire steel type or something. I'm probably wrong, but if this guy doesn't become a gouty lizard, some other Pokemon definitely should. And lastly, we have the duck. It's a duck. Okay, moving on. Nah, that's not fair to Donald here. I'll be honest, this guy is the most boring out of the three. And I don't think I'm alone in that opinion. What I do suspect is that this boy is gonna pop off when he evolves. His proper posture and even his description says it's earnest and tidy. My thought was that it'll evolve into some kind of a soldier. This blue-footed booby even has a beret. See? I had to stop myself because I realized that seeing the top of his head would associate him with France more than Spain. Uncultured me did a quick Google search to confirm some stuff, and lo and behold, the people of Spain have a history with the goofy hat as well. So the theory still stands. I want to publicly apologize for my ignorance of hats and their geographical significances. As someone who has clocked in too many hours of my life into TF2, I should have known better, and I apologize for my severe lapse in judgment. So yeah, Donald is going to war, and this duck is going to evolve to hold a frickin' gun. Water, steel type, perhaps? Treading on Empoleon's turf, but whatever, it's the duck. And we haven't even discussed the new protagonists yet. If there's one thing Game Freak has knocked out of the park for years on end, it's making cool-looking protagonists to play as. I'm sure with this new installment, that pattern is sure to... What? What the absolute fuck is that? Is this some kind of a joke? What is this uncanny valley baby-faced abomination? And that drip? Or lack thereof, I mean, what are those? I'm so disgusted that I can only speak in outdated memes. My heart, eyes, and soul weep when I see this absolute failure of a design. I certainly hope that this is the worst this game has to offer, because I physically recoiled when this thing first appeared on screen. So the character looks like it barely left the womb and it's 6 years of age. Okay, whatever, I'll live. We've played as kids in every game so far, so what if it looks half the age of every other protagonist we've ever played as? Definitely not a game for babies, right? But then we get to that face. Why does it look like that? I don't mind moving away from traditional anime ooh-woo style faces, but this? Why does it seem so off? I don't mean to throw the word around, but Uncanny Valley, man. It's just so Uncanny Valley all over. It looks nice graphically, but I hate the face. And I guarantee no amount of in-game customization can fix that. Speaking of customization, you know even the most casual of players are going to turn into speedrunners just to get into the first clothing store they can to change out of that default boarding school faux pas of an outfit. And that's assuming we can even change our clothes or appearance in this game. We still haven't gotten confirmation of that. Until we do, I am mentally steeling myself to accept looking like a little dweeb for the whole game. It is worth mentioning that you'll apparently have an altered color palette depending on the version of the game you're playing. I hope that doesn't mean the clothes are permanent and that's just a cute little detail, right? Before I end this video that the whopping demographic of nobody asked for, I just wanted to recollect my thoughts and put my hopes and fears for this game on the table. Since I was just talking about it, yeah, customization. Clothes, eyes, and skin tone. They've done it once, they did it again. All they need to do is keep doing it. Let me decorate my pre-bullied nerd, please. Thank you. Next up, every Twitter bait's bread and butter. The graphics. I'm tired of all this speculation, so I'm just gonna assume that the textures and rendering we saw in the trailer is how it's gonna look when it ships. Does it look great? Not really. Does it look better than Sword and Shield? Objectively, yes. The improvements aren't massive, but putting them side by side, you can see examples of improvement. Most notably the textures on Magnemite and Seviper. The environments from a distance still look standard, but the fact that Sword and Shield still looked worse than this trailer does, no wonder we were disappointed. Some are saying that the graphics will be more polished on release, but I'm not so sure. More importantly, Game Freak needs to figure out what anti-aliasing is. Corners were okay when sprites were made from 2D pixels, but these 3D games on bigger screens suffer immensely when everything looks so crunchy. I know the Switch itself has the power of an early 2000s flip phone, but it doesn't look like Pokemon even comes close to hitting the ceiling of its potential. And I'm not saying I need it to look like Elden Ring, I just want it to look clean and polished. You know, keep the simple designs and textures, I just want it to look like every asset is deliberate in the way that it looks. Animal Crossing New Horizons is a great example of what I'm talking about. All the characters are essentially made out of spheres and cones, but it still looks great for what it is. I would like to see even more polished when the next installment arrives in 3 years. Actually, let's talk about that. This year, more than ever, I feel like we are drowning in Pokemon. Not even mentioning ongoing or new games like Pokemon Go and Pokemon Unite, respectively. We got 3 huge console games in the span of essentially a year. Pokemon Wacky Diamond and Silly Pearl, Pokemon Let's Go RC Ass, and now Gen 9. I still can't believe we're already getting a new gen already. Sword and Shield feel like they were just released, but I guess time is just moving faster or something these days. I do feel like this is a problem, though the Pokemon Company is definitely going to keep doing it anyway. I don't know how overworked Game Freak employees are, but the rate that these games are coming out, it's clearly great for profits, but as a player, I'm fatigued at how quickly these games are coming out. They have no room to breathe between one another, and by extension, it makes it harder for the games to get the level of polish that everyone wishes they had. Maybe this is just a me problem, but I've had less time to play games these days, and when they come out rapid fire like this, I don't even have the opportunity to play the games from the same franchise without turning it into some kind of an obligation. From the amount of people online I see who froth at the mouth whenever a release date isn't shown in a trailer, or who yell at devs to release their games faster, Cyberpunk 2077, I'm probably in the minority here. After last gen's fiasco, though, I feel like I saw more people than ever saying that they'd be okay if the game was pushed back a year or so. And with Arceus just having released, people should be satisfied, I'd think. Hell, I'm only 2 gym badges into Brilliant Diamond and I've yet to even purchase Arceus, and now I need to pretend I'm a speedrunner just to be ready in time for Scarlet and Violet. That's assuming I don't skip this gen as well, but only time will tell. We haven't seen actual in-game footage yet, but after Legends Arceus, I have a sneaking suspicion that this might be the first mainline game to have an adjustable camera, even more so than Sword and Shield. I didn't play Sword and Shield, but I think you can only move the camera in the wild area? I'm not fact-checking this, so don't at me. It's not revolutionary technology, nor does it even need to be in a traditional Pokemon game, but people have been asking for it, so I guess there's a demand. It made sense in Arceus because that's a much more open-world, action-y game, as opposed to the simpler turn-based nature of Pokemon's of old. I guess people want the franchise to evolve in even bigger ways, but I'm personally fine with the general gameplay mechanics Pokemon has had. If you get rid of the turn-based battles, it's not even a traditional Pokemon game anymore, which is why I think it's super cool that Arceus, and hopefully future Legends games, gives new and exciting ways to experience Pokemon, while the mainline games can be the Pokemon games. People probably disagree with my opinions on the games, but I know that. Hell, I still prefer random encounters over exclusively finding them in the overworld. I make an exception for Arceus, since it works great for that style of gameplay, but for the main games, I think having a mix of both random encounters and overworld Pokemon is the best way to satisfy all fans. If they remove random encounters entirely though, we riot. There are dozens of us! Dozens! Also, I don't know about you guys, but did anyone actually care about the Dynamax feature in the last game? I know I didn't play the game, but I saw it, and I'm not sure if I like what I saw. I just want Mega Evolutions back. They can transfer some of the Dynamax form into Mega Evolutions if they wanted to. No need to throw out finished designs. I always thought that the Mega Evolutions, on top of looking super cool, were also a great way to get Pokemon that people might otherwise pass over to have a chance at joining someone's team. Pokemon like Lopunny or Beedrill are ones that come to mind. Also, I will not rest until we get a Mega Yanmega, just for the name alone. I'm honestly not holding my breath though. I don't know whether or not Dynamax is coming back, but I don't expect Mega Evolutions to make a return, even though I'd really like them to. I just can't understand why they put so much effort into a gameplay mechanic over the course of several games just to pretend it doesn't exist. So weird. And finally, the Mamoswine in the room. More like, can you even have a Mamoswine in this game? That's right, gamers, I'm talking about the National Dex. If there was one thing I could forcibly will into existence, it would be for all existing Pokemon to be available in the game. If the times of being able to transfer any Pokemon into a single game are gone, then that is a major problem. I know there are a lot of Pokemon, but whenever I think about this, I always think back to one of my favorite Pokemon games, X and Y. They did the wacky, unbelievable thing at the time of moving Pokemon from the second dimension into the third. That meant that on top of designing new places, people, and Pokemon, among any other tasks that come with making a new game, they also had to model, texture, and animate every single existing Pokemon in 3D. If you look at the ratio of new Pokemon per gen, you can see that Gen 6 had the smallest amount of new Pokemon. But that makes a lot of sense. That game must have been a massive undertaking, and the fact that it successfully happened within their existing schedule, no less, is kind of incredible. Fast forward to Sword and Shield's disastrous reception of yesteryear. I don't feel like giving myself a stroke from sifting through every single argument people have used when discussing that game, but if you can recall, there was definitely a discourse to be had, and the Pokemon community hasn't recovered since. I think some complaints, while technically justified, were a bit reaching, and using those reasons to say the game was bad or unplayable are definitely exaggerations. These are problems that you would only hope were growing pains from moving to a new console, though. That's why all eyes are on this game right now. Since the last release, they should have given themselves enough time to fix at least half of the issues that plagued Gen 8. While we still don't know if all the Pokemon are going to be available in this gen, I'd be more than disappointed if it's not the case. If making a finished Pokemon game is too much for them to handle, then I stand by what I said. They need to space out these releases. But they won't because, you know. Okay, so that all came out much more whiny than I expected, but I guess that's just a side effect of the damage Sword and Shield did to my trust of the series. We don't know much about the game, and as new information comes out, I hope it's mostly good news. Be sure to favorite this video, leave a licky, snubble-scribe, hit Monchan, that bell sprout, leave a camera up below, and I'll see you next time! God, that was awful. Come on!